Hi, everybody. This is Rick Pizzoli with Salesforce Europe, and we're here talking about scaling your business in the Nordics. I'm joined by our regional sales partners, Petri Rini and Ake Hippe. Petri is calling from Finland and Ake from Sweden. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Rick. Thanks. Glad to be here.
So, how's the weather today in the Nordics?
Ooh, 5+ and raining.
Oh, nice.
Christmas.
Raining, not snowing, unfortunately.
Yeah, no Christmas weather yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Very
Petri,
typical
is
this
Santa
time
Claus
of the
there
year.
in Lapland yet?
Yeah, no, and I'm not actually in the Nordics at the moment, so I'm in southern Spain, but it's raining here as well. So
Okay,
not a big difference.
Okay, fantastic. Well, let's start our conversation with why the Nordics. Why should a tech company consider scaling their business in the Nordics? Why put the Nordics in the roadmap for investment?
Yeah, I think if you look at the technology market in the Nordics, I mean, we are very advanced, and I think we are number 5 in Europe after the big countries, but before Spain in terms of the total GDP. And if you look at the technology development during the years, I mean, we were one of the very first market with a broadband enabled, and a lot of internet companies popped up. And if you also see like the communication platforms you see today, Skype was one of the first one. It was started by a Dane and a Swede. And we see like the music industry, Spotify turned that around to be very popular to stream videos. And we have a lot of different unicorns in the tech sector, and innovation is really, really big up here.
Yeah, I guess that's true. People see those unicorns. They don't realize the technology that's sold into those unicorns. I remember supporting a company called On2, which made the codec, the video codec, be behind some of these solutions. And so a lot of innovative companies and a lot of interesting technology that's sold into those companies, right?
Yeah, and government also in the Nordic countries support startups quite a lot actually. So there are all kinds of grants that the startups can obtain when they develop their product or they validate the market or so forth. So there's a very kind of an energetic startup scene, where, for example, in Stockholm and Helsinki. So lots of great innovations this part of the world.
So that's investment, Petri, coming out of the market. Is there also investment supporting companies coming into the market?
Yeah, there are different types of kind of instruments that you can use. You can apply from the government. I think this is the same, at least in Sweden and Finland. There are kind of entities called Business Finland here and Business Sweden in Sweden. So they work a little bit differently, but they still support all kinds of export activities and also giving money to the startups and scale-ups. So yeah, it's very good, because I mean the capital situation in the Nordic countries is we are not in the UK or in Americas whereby there's much more money to be invested in the interesting startups. So we need to work a little bit wiser than the big boys or the big countries.
Now, we did a lot of business, Petri, in Finland in particular. Nokia dominated for many years and dominated the talent. And with the changes at Nokia, it seemed like a lot of that talent were dispersed to a lot of interesting startups.
Yeah, that's true actually. So yeah, and I personally have worked with several of those startups myself. So that's true. People don't kind of know Nokia as a brand anymore that well, because Nokia used to be the world leader in mobile handsets, but people don't realize that they still employ like 70,000 people. But the business is totally different at the moment. So it's networking, infrastructure and so forth. So it's not that cool. It's not that the consumer business anymore.
Well, maybe I didn't know it was 70,000. And how do people, if you're selling into the Nordics, from the US or for Europe first, why should we target the Nordics? And then how to go to Nordics? What are kind of tricks in the trade to enter the Nordic markets?
Yeah, for one of the things which, because we have all the Nordics, I mean, population up to about 65 years old, maybe 70, have proper English knowledge. So it's very easy for American, UK company, but also other companies from Europe or Asia with the English language base. But you also need definitely local knowledge or local native speaking people when it comes to more complicated products or services you like to sell up here. So then you need probably in-depth knowledge also in the language. But as an initial approach, and some of the area segments like telecom, e-commerce platforms, SaaS software platforms, they are easier to sell without their native languages, but it's always good to have that in terms of the support and the technical people. So that's one aspect. The second one is probably the high knowledge in terms of the technologies. We are very often used as a test market for high-tech products, not only from US, but also from Asia and so forth. If, for example, when Chinese companies in the network and telecom area, they wanted to test one market outside China, they tested Norway and Sweden for the new services. So that's one example of that, because of our past knowledge, which comes from the mobile industry initially, and then the networking industry. We are very advanced in terms of the knowledge, but also in terms of the digital services we can provide today.
Yeah, I would add like if I remember right, Ricky, you also asked that how to actually land here. So I mean, let's consider like Denmark, Norway, Sweden, and Finland. Let's not talk about Iceland at the moment, even though it's part of the Nordics. But you need to have a good go-to-market plan, and don't make the mistake that all the countries are the same. So there are differences. For example, Norwegians, Swedes, and Danes, they can communicate with like a Scandinavian language. Finland is totally different, so our language is totally different from the Scandinavian language. And then like one person if you need to hire a person to help companies to penetrate the market, it's the best to have one native per country, so that's the best approach. But you can like start from one country. Of course, Sweden is the biggest market, so why not start there, or why not start in Finland and then expand from there?
Are there a lot of differences? I mean, of course, there's language differences, but is there differences between one Nordic country to the other? I mean, can you just cover it from the UK with an English speaker, or can you cover the Nordics from Sweden with a Swedish and English speaker?
I mean, it depends a little bit of the level of technology, and if there is very deep tech products, which maybe needs also needs a combination of English and native speaking if you like to dig down very deep into the solutions. You need to maybe talk to people which are not so very well trained in the English language, and need the native language as well.
But I guess it's just not language, right? It's personal contacts. It's understanding how the buying process is in these different companies. I assume you can only get so far with English.
Yeah. I mean, basically everyone speaks good English in the Nordics, but it's just like you said, it's about the network. You need to get the door open to the right decision maker. That is tricky as well in Nordics, even though the population is not that big compared to the, well, let's say the UK, that people are not picking up the phone at all because there are that many vendors calling decision makers. But of course, it helps if you have someone that can help you to open up the doors with the existing C-level network. It really kind of speeds up the whole thing.
Well, I guess it's not just opening up the doors. That's maybe just an expression, right? It's managing that sales process all the way through. It's
exactly
one thing having the contacts, another thing, because these are quite often decisions by consensus, right? So you need to touch a lot of different points in these organizations to get approvals.
Yes. Yeah, that's correct. I mean, it's if you compare with American business style, the UK, it's more from top down decisions. Here is if it's a big purchasing going on there, your involvement from from C-level down to the product management and the marketing, the sales, and it's a consensus, as you said, Riggs, consensus discussion. It takes longer time to get the approval or the deal signed, but after you have done that, you have the consensus discussion and the final decision, then go to market goes much faster than if you have a top-down decision, which then have to be mental down in the organization and see that maybe not everybody are happy on that kind of approach. But here we are used to this what do you call it, consensus way of decision making.
Okay. Now, it's an advanced society as far as technology, early broadband adoption and digitalization. So what's hot? What can American companies or European companies that are looking to scale in the Nordics, what kind of technology can they be successful with if that market is already maybe a step ahead in many different verticals? What's hot today?
I mean, of course, AI or kind of interesting AI solutions, whether it be like AI support, B2B sales, or in any AI stuff. So AI definitely is one common denominator. But sustainability, definitely, this is a hot topic here. So many companies and government municipalities are looking for. So great innovations on sustainability side. Smart cities, that's just one thing which is evolving quite a lot. So those are on top of my mind.
And can you drill down a little bit more, let's say, in smart cities? I mean, what do you see? Are you seeing autonomous driving cars? What are we seeing?
No, kinds of like platforms to manage like parking spaces or infrastructure conditions of the roads. It's a big term, of course, this smart city, but I've been mentoring those startups on these EU programs. So there are lots of really innovative solutions like how to prevent pollution in the harbor using hair from hairdressers. So all kinds of really cool solutions.
Now, you just had a big event in Finland, Slush, right? And it's getting bigger every year, I take it. How was Slush this year, Petri?
Yeah, it was very well. It's better organized now every year. But it kind of it's not that big than it used to be, like let's say 6-7 years ago. So it's a bit more compact. But I mean, there were thousands of startups seeking for funding, thousands of VCs attending to looking for interesting projects. So I mean, it was cool. There's also this tech arena in Stockholm in February, which we participated with Åke this year actually. So Åke can maybe tell about that bit.
Yeah, it's an event that's been going on in Sweden or Stockholm for 4 or 5 years now, and it's both like big speaker stands where you can attract like corporate speakers and also world leaders who speak there. But then it's a lot of small sessions as well, and then also you can book one-to-one meetings you get the calendar in well advanced, and you book meetings with startups from, I think there was over 60 countries last or this year in this event. So you see both investors from VC companies talking to these companies, these startups or scale-ups in the scenario. And I had like maybe 10, 15 meetings during that 2 days we were there. And a couple of them we are working on to see if we can provide some help for their scaling. But it takes time if they are in the early process of scaling up the business and seeking international partnerships and so forth. But we are in a good place with one of them at least. So we hope to.
What's the name of the event again? I missed it.
Tech Arena.
Tech Arena. Okay.
Yeah, it's one word. Yeah.
Great. Well we can put both Tech Arena and Slush into the what's the LinkedIn comments after the event.
Okay.
That's really interesting. And when you guys when you're talking to scale ups that are leaving the Nordics, you know, what's kind of the size of them? How big are they in people and revenue when they're kind of scaling outside, and what size of companies do you see successfully entering the Nordics?
Well, maybe I can cover the leaving Nordics part. So yeah, of course, many startups also think that they can make it with a little bit thin resources. But many times they do it too soon, so they don't have enough kind of a good customer cases, not enough money in the bank or solid funding in place, and they still try to do it. Of course, if you are like a born global immediately, so that when you launch your product, you know your customers are all over the world, and not specifically in Finland, for example, then you need to go abroad pretty quickly. I mean, the best success stories come from companies that are in the scale-up phase and bigger, so like a few million turnover and onwards, because then they have this they have enough money and good customer cases and good traction here, so they can invest in the internationalization better.
And then, oh, sorry. Okay, did you want to comment?
Yeah. So I agree with Rick there in terms of size. They should have at least organization which are in place in terms of they have the sales organization, have marketing, they have the support, and they are planning to. If it's a software solution, then you need to do the translations and so forth, and they have to. For example, if they like to do sales in Germany, they have to be well prepared to do this homework in terms of the language, the cultural differences, and they need to be at least, I guess, from 2-3 million, 4 million euro to be able to do it, because it's quite a big investment to enter a market if you don't use local people who can help and maybe minimize the initial investment in terms of to find the first clients and so forth. So I think you need a good plan to go to a new market.
Okay. Well, I guess that's probably pretty similar entering into the Nordics, right?
Yes.
I mean, if you're a US scale up or European scale up and you're considering where do I go next, we're saying the Nordics is a pretty good market because it's English friendly. You probably still need to have local people, the early adopters of new technologies, so they like innovation. How do people from the Nordics buy? I mean, are they, what are their drivers to position products into the Nordics?
I mean, buying. Of course, there are differences between countries, and of course, the buyer needs to have a pain. So and is looking for kind of a remedy for that pain. So that's of course where to start. But for example, in Sweden, okay, of course, is a expert on this one. It's like more this consensus type of buying process. So it's more democratic, which means that the Swedes are a bit more careful when they make decisions, but when they do, they have prepared everything very well. So the implementation is better. In Finland, we are a little bit more straight shooters. So it's the sales cycle is on average a little bit quicker, but then we don't have that much consensus into the next level. So implementing the solutions could take a little bit longer.
I can add that because of our high technology knowledge in the market, it's easier to come here with a new product or new service, and then we are able to evaluate the process and also do a very in-depth competitive analysis and place the product in where it's the biggest opportunity to enter, and then check the proposal in our network where we can discuss with a reseller or retailer or end customer to see if this is a proper proposal for that type of customer, and we get the feedback directly from the corporate, from the resellers and the retail, and then we can adapt the strategy to enter market. By doing that, then we can enter on a test period the market and have a very quick acceptance on the product or service in the market. So this we have been put in place for the last 15-20 years with that strategy, that we actually check with the potential customers to see where is the best fit for this product or service.
You mentioned a good point there. Okay, on channels, is channel a successful route to market in the Nordics? Is that a path that many companies take, and is it easy to engage channels? And do you have to? Will they then do the selling for you, or do you also need to do a bit of market seeding to create demand?
I think it's mostly it's a combination of all of that, because nowadays it's hardly no new product coming into the market which have no competition. So most likely the distributors, the resellers may be already selling similar product. Then you need to find the advantage of this product and solution, and then you select the resellers is maybe not are selling so many of the competition products, and built a good support product service around it. So it's more like you package it so that they have easier path to market and sell, and then you doing the feeding and support for marketing, PR side as well. So it's a combination to actually engage the resellers.
So it's not let's say, free way into a market. It's not no low cost or no cost, right? You don't just sign a channel and walk back and hope that they're going to do your work for you.
It depends. I mean, a lot of times they ask for a lot of marketing money and so forth. But if you can say that, okay, we can a little bit of that marketing money we can spend, but we will also help you to sell the product through that we package the service, the product on a better way than the competition do, and then we can support them on the sell-through part as well. So it depends how you like to approach the channels.
Okay, so the channel strategy has to be well developed. You need to identify the right channels. You need to manage and close those channels, but in the parallel, you need to create demand, talk to the end users, get some buzz about the product itself. The channels naturally have hundreds of products, right? Maybe tens of salespeople. So you might be getting the mind share of a tenth of a salesperson. So if you want to create awareness, then you probably need to invest in either an employee or a service company to help you drive that business.
Yeah. And it's because we have been in this market for so many years, we have a very good connection to the right people in both in the distribution, reseller or retail chains. so we can at least get an access and get a meeting, and then we can at least be presenting the offering. So we have a faster route to engage with the right channels to bring the product forward.
Okay.
Yeah, and this is not like a Nordic specific thing, but I like to always remind people that you need to have your kind of a partner processes and strategy thought of before you start building the channel, and at least the first version of your partner program in place, so that when you meet up with your potential channel partner, you can kind of explain how you work together, so that it's not like, hey, let's meet up and discuss how we could work together in the future, but we don't have any clue. So the better you kind of productize your approach, the better your kind of a partner sales scales as well.
Okay. And how long does it typically take to bring a new product into the Nordics, either selling direct to enterprise or to telco or via channel? How long should it take? And is it similar to the rest of Europe, or is it longer, shorter?
I think it depends a lot on the product and service itself. If it's a highly complicated product and you have to do a lot of selling in different levels in an organization, then it's difficult. But I think you should have 3 to 6 months is a good to have an initial sales or initial setup or resellers and starting selling through. And everything there is also dependent on the marketing support you give in the channels to sell through. But I like to bring up one case study that it was in the broadband networking scenario. A very successful company in many countries, mainly in the US, wanted to enter the Nordic market. We helped them to do competitive analysis, and also if the product match was exactly what the market wanted. We discussed with the key players, telcos, the ISPs, but there were some features lacking from the product offering, and therefore, we tried to convince the manufacturer to actually implement those features so we can sell to the whole market. Because of the strategy, we were not able to reach maybe the big corporates, the big telcos, but we could sell through to a smaller size, in this case, ISP provider, service provider with 5,000 plus up to about 40,000 annual sales of the Wi-Fi mesh routers. But if we had been able to convince the vendor to do these feature implementation, we probably have the 10 to 20 times sale through revenue in these years. So it's a very difficult way if you don't have the ears from the top management from the vendor. So that is one experience with, I think they should listen to what the market requirements are before they actually entering the market.
Yeah, that's a good point. I just shared that case study yesterday with a vendor. They asked about what we need to do to be successful, and I said, well, we will provide feedback from the market of what the market is telling us. Of course, we'll do our best to justify, sell around any obstacles, but some obstacles are obstacles. So if there's a product requirement, a feature requirement that they can't do without, the quicker that company can turn that around, the quicker we can be successful in the market. So the people that are managing us need to be the people that can make those decisions, just not a middleman who takes it, bottles up the request, and passes it on to the senior management in some other country, because it's really hard to justify it that way.
Yeah, and when you plan your go-to-market, you need to build in the data capture phase, so to say, like Åke described. We need to understand, the market and the demand and the pain, competition as well. So, and you cannot use, the same playbook or for this kind of a one size fits all playbook to enter all the countries. So you need to adapt.
Okay.
And
Guys, sorry. Okay.
I have another example of a very successful one. This was quite a few years ago, but English company also in the networking area, which we started up and was able to enter with the right resellers, and did a very good homework in terms of how to position the product and targeting the key resellers of this product initially. So we grow from, they had already some sales from one UK salesperson. I think it was like 300,000-400,000 euros. And they had been selling for about 2.5 years before we came in. So after 6 months, we were able to do the same revenue as they did in 2.5 years. And on the first year, we did about 1 million euro. Second year, 2.5. And after a little bit more than 3 years, we have 5 million euro sales. Right. And we built the organization. First, it was me 50%, and then was me 100%, and we had a salesperson 100%, and a support guy. And we built up. And after this 3.5 years, we were able to then be step back and promote a new CEO for the company. And so after, so on the 4th year, I can't remember exactly what they did, but we left after 3.5 years. So we built this successful entity, and we left them with 5 people running this, and was shooting for 6-7 million for the 4th year. So
okay. Great. Yeah. Nice story. Well, I think we've covered a lot today. We've established that Nordics is a great kind of entry market for Europe, for other European scale-ups to go to first, to kind of test their scale-up capabilities. Are they ready for new markets? Being English friendly, innovative on new technologies. Quite often it's the UK first, but the UK also becomes quite a saturated market. So I think the Nordics is quite a good alternative, either for European companies scaling or American companies coming in as a landing pad. We talked about the differences in the Nordics to the rest of Europe, and the Nordics within Nordics, and the benefit of having local people with contacts and experience, not only for the Nordics, but also in individual countries. So Petri and Aki, really appreciate your time. And anybody, if you want to reach out to us individually on LinkedIn, please do, or via salesforceeurope.com, and share us your details, and look forward to our next session. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Rick. Thanks for having me.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.